The Pittsburgh Steelers are in this weird phase. They're in a soft rebuild where most of their team is aligned and now it just needs to click. But on the outside, nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to give them respect until it's earned. What's going on, everybody? I'm Noah Strackbein. Thank you for jumping on to Steelers To Go, your daily to-go cup of Pittsburgh Steelers news and analysis. Find us on youtube.com/allsteelerstalk and subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts. And today, well, I woke up to an interesting email. Super Bowl 57 has ended. The Kansas City Chiefs are champions, whether you agree with the defensive holding call or not. Juju Smith-Schuster has a Super Bowl ring. You got to feel good about that one. Even if you didn't like that he showed up in a kilt, the headlines are there. It happened. The NFL season is over. Now it's time for 2023. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a new quarterback entering his second year of the NFL, first year as a full-time starter, the first time that he will have a training camp to prepare like a starter. He will have the same offense virtually, the same offensive line virtually, and a top 10 defense as long as the Steelers can keep it together and stay healthy. But nobody cares. Do you want to know why nobody cares? Do you want to know why nobody cares that the Steelers finished 9-8 and went on a 7-2 run, and Kenny Pickett had two back-to-back comebacks, the first time in NFL history a rookie did that, and he came in the halftime of the Jets game and the whole season changed, and nobody cares. And it's very evident. The Super Bowl 58 odds came out, and that was the email that I woke up to. And I looked for the Steelers, and I scanned and I scanned, and I saw the Cincinnati Bengals up there as like the fifth best odds. Understandable, expected. The Baltimore Ravens, you scan a little bit more, they're like the 13th best odds or the 9th best odds. Expected, unless they lose Lamar Jackson. But as of right now, expected. You keep scanning, you keep scanning. You expect the Steelers to be right there in the middle of the pack, right? Right there. Nope. 13th shows up. Who's there? The Cleveland Browns. A team that finished worse than the Steelers with Deshaun Watson, who looked worse than Kenny Pickett. You could make an argument for, and you could make a strong argument for that one. A defense that underperformed at times, and a coaching staff that has a ton of questions, including their head coach. But they ranked 13th. And then after that, you're like, okay, well, the Steelers have to be right here. They got to be right around this same mark, right? That's who the Steelers are. They have one of the top 10 defenses in the NFL. Najee Harris turned it on at the end of the season. George Pickens and Kenny Pickett, year two together, that's going to be outstanding. Pat Freiermuth is getting better. You have to expect the offensive line to grow. Right around that 13 mark, right? That's where you expected them to be. You keep scanning. You keep scanning. You keep scanning. 26th. The 26th, tied with a number of teams, which is another thing we have to address. 26th, they're ranked on SI Sportsbook for future odds for Super Bowl 58. They have plus 6,600 odds. And if you're feeling crazy, you go make that bet. They're tied with the Seattle Seahawks. Understandable. Feel like them and the Steelers are right on the verge. You know, they could make it happen, but chances are they won't make it happen. The Tennessee Titans, a little bit more of a question mark. Don't know what's going to go on at quarterback. Malik Willis ain't it. How long could Derrick Henry do this for? The defense kind of fell apart. Yeah, big questions. Not totally sure they're in the same category there. Then it's the Atlanta Falcons, and you're going, what are we talking about? The Atlanta Falcons. The only way that they make the playoffs at all is if they win their division, and that's because all you have to do is win 7 games to win that division. Big question mark there. And then it's the Washington Commanders. The Sam Howell-led, cannot win a game, didn't even know that they could be eliminated from the playoffs. Washington Commanders. Yikes. But that goes to show you. That goes to show you exactly where the Pittsburgh Steelers are. They're a team that, yeah, they had a great run at the end of the season, and Steelers fans themselves are super hyped for the future. They cannot wait to see what Kenny Pickett and this team brings to the table in 2023. The year is going to be huge, and everybody should be excited, and I cannot wait, and I get it. I get it. If I'm a Steelers fan, I'm hyped for what 2023 brings because it goes one of two ways. Either you realize some of these guys aren't it, you realize Kenny Pickett isn't it, you realize Mike Tomlin's got bigger question marks than you thought, you realize Matt Canada really, really does need to go. You realize you got to build the defense a little bit more. You realize all these things, or it turns into a phenomenal year, a run, a special team. Kenny Pickett is the dude. Year 2 is the move. The Steelers look real good. Real good. But only Steelers fans can see that second narrative. Only Steelers fans are going to, as of right now, give that team enough confidence to say, hey, that could happen. Because the rest of the league, the rest of the sports world is not going to do that right now. They're going to look at it and they're going to go, Kenny Pickett has proven nothing. Najee Harris was a giant question mark all the way up until about the halfway point of the season. Deontay Johnson didn't score a touchdown last season. What's going on with that? Pat Freiermuth can't block anybody to save his life. George Pickens, yeah, he's awesome, but he's never open. He's just awesome. And that defense is great, but it's getting older. And you're losing a lot of pieces that you got to replace. And how long could guys like Robert Spillane be your starting inside linebacker before major problems turn up? Or how long can Cam Sutton be your cornerback 1 before major problems turn up? There are a lot of question marks when you put it on paper. And all the sports books, all the media is going to do is attach themselves to that narrative and attach themselves to those questions and look at it and continue to say, yeah, I don't know about that one. I don't know about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Even if that's the case, do they belong around teams like the Atlanta Falcons and the Washington Commanders? Not a chance. Not a chance. Coaching alone shows you that the Pittsburgh Steelers could make something happen. Mike Tomlin is different than Ron Rivera or whoever is in Atlanta or whoever is in wherever. It does not matter. There are 4 coaches in the NFL that you could say, oh, okay, well, they could turn it on like Mike Tomlin could turn it on. One of them just won a Super Bowl. His name's Andy Reid. The other one is Bill Belichick. And that one's an even bigger question mark these days because you don't know what's going on over there. And maybe there's 1 or 2 more. And to be truthful with you, maybe Mike Vrabel of the Tennessee Titans, who have the same odds as the Pittsburgh Steelers, are one of them. But Ron Rivera and the Atlanta Falcons? No. Not in the same class. That team's not in the same class. The coaching staff's not in the same class. The Super Bowl odds are not in the same class. It's a funny way to look at the Super Bowl right now. It's a funny way to look at 2023, but today's the biggest headline. Everybody's going to talk about the controversial call that maybe it wasn't a holding call on Juju Smith-Schuster. Maybe James Bradbury didn't grab him. And truthfully, yeah, it was a super soft call. Probably shouldn't have been made, but it was called, and it is what it is. The Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Now it's on to 58. And the first thing every other team will talk about, especially a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, who don't have much news going on right now, is how close are they to a Super Bowl? Can they pull it off? Can they ever pull it off again? Will they get there? Is Kenny Pickett the guy? Nobody's going to say yes. Nobody at all outside of Steelers Nation is going to say yes. Remember that. I came on here a couple of times and I've warned people about certain things. I've warned them about the offseason, all the drama that's going to come, and, you know, the Deontay Johnson nonsense that wasn't true, and all these things. I've warned people in the past about, hey, look, at Kenny is going to be okay, but you got to give him a lot of time. Right now, what I'm coming on to tell people is keep your faith strong. Keep your hope in the Pittsburgh Steelers alive. And do not give up because you are looking around and everybody is talking about how bad they're going to be and how many question marks they have and how they can't overcome them. The only people who are going to believe in the Pittsburgh Steelers for the next 365 days are Steelers fans. Even if they're good, people are going to shut them down. Especially right now, nobody cares. Nobody cares about the Pittsburgh Steelers and all the progress that they've made and how close maybe they are and how young this team is and how talented it is. Nobody cares that now with Derek Walk-On, the oldest guy on the offense, is like 27 years old. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt are one of the most dominant outside linebacker groups and that Cam Sutton really is a cornerback one and that Minkah Fitzpatrick is an all-pro and one of the greatest safeties alive and Cam Hayward defends Father Time every single time. Nobody cares. It's up to Steelers Nation to put their head down and keep their hope up and say, hey, nobody has to care. We're going to keep this team alive. We're going to keep that spirit up. Because the Steelers haven't earned any respect, at least not nationally, and they're not going to get any. So you got to keep staring at those 6,600 odds tied with the Washington Commanders and the Atlanta Falcons, and you just got to say, who cares? I know what's good. These odds aren't. Keep your head up.